I've always believed in eating clean, fresh, plant-based, natural. But the older I get, the more I realize not everything that grows from the earth is good for every body. Especially as we age, the way our body reacts to food changes, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically. Some vegetables that once fueled me now leave me bloated, inflamed, or just off. And it shocked me to learn that certain healthy foods might actually be working against my strength and recovery after 60. We're taught to trust greens, but no one teaches us how to listen to our body. No one tells you that digestion slows, sensitivity rises, and even some of the most praised vegetables can stress your system when you least expect it. In this video, I'll walk you through 7 vegetables I've learned to avoid after turning 60, and why steering clear of them has made me feel lighter, stronger, and more focused than I have in years. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness, because what used to work doesn't always keep working. If you're ready to eat with more intention and age with more clarity, hit like, subscribe for honest health conversations, and drop a comment. What's one healthy food that never sits right with you? Let's begin, starting with the one vegetable that spikes inflammation and slows recovery more than most people realize. Let's start with the first veggie, and trust me, this one might catch you off guard. It shows up in nearly every clean eating meal plan out there. Veggie number 1, raw spinach. Now, before you stop me and say, "But Lenny, spinach is a superfood," you're absolutely right. Spinach is loaded with nutrients. The issue isn't the spinach itself, it's how you eat it once you're past 60. See, when I hit that milestone, I had to tweak a few things in my diet too, and spinach was one of them. Here's why. Raw spinach packs up to 750 milligrams of oxalates per 100 grams. Oxalates are naturally occurring compounds, and they're usually harmless. But as we age, especially past 60, our kidneys don't work quite as efficiently as they used to. In fact, they lose about 1% of their function every year. That means your body isn't flushing out oxalates the way it once did, and that buildup can start to form crystals and, yeah, eventually kidney stones. But it doesn't stop there. Oxalates also block your body's ability to absorb calcium, which is exactly what you need to keep your bones strong as you age. I was losing too much calcium at a time when my body needed every bit of it. Here's the move I made, and it changed the game. I started lightly cooking my spinach, just a quick steam or boil for 2 to 3 minutes. That simple step slashes the oxalate content by nearly 40%. Boom, problem solved. My buddy Roberto, same story. He was blending raw spinach into his smoothies every morning thinking he was doing himself a favor. But it started catching up with him. Now he gives his spinach a quick cook first, then tosses it in. Smoothies still taste great, and his kidneys aren't taking the hit anymore. If you're looking for safer swaps, go with romaine lettuce, which has almost no oxalates. Or try steamed baby chard, or even small amounts of cooked spinach, but use it more like a garnish, not the star of the show. Now here's the wild part. There's another veggie that's even more common than spinach. It's chilling in nearly every fridge, and it might be quietly raising your blood pressure without you even noticing. Want to take a guess what it is? Vegetable number 2, raw celery. Now I know what you're thinking. Come on, Lenny, celery. It's just water and fiber, right? That's the same thing my friend Carmen thought. She's 72, full of life and trying to stay sharp. A few months back, she came to me all confused about her blood pressure. She'd been snacking on 3 to 4 big stalks of celery every single day, thinking she was doing something good for her digestion. Sound familiar? Here's where things got real. At her routine checkup, her blood pressure jumped from 130/80 to 160/95, even though she was faithfully taking her heart meds. Her doctor ran every test in the book, heart scans, lab work, med adjustments, you name it. Still no answers. It wasn't until she told me her whole food routine that the picture came into focus. See, celery naturally carries about 88 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams. That might not sound like much, but stack up several stalks a day, and you're unknowingly adding an extra 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium on top of everything else. And here's the kicker. Once you're over 60, your body becomes more sensitive to sodium, your kidneys process it more slowly, and the excess sodium starts to raise fluid retention and spike blood pressure. That's exactly what happened with Carmen. And here's where it gets even trickier. If you're on medications like diuretics or ACE inhibitors, The sodium in celery can actually mess with how well those meds work. That's no joke. So, what did Carmen do? She cut celery out completely for 3 weeks, and just like that, her blood pressure dropped back to a safe zone. No need to change her meds, no extra prescriptions, just a smart shift in her snacks. I made the same switch myself. When I want something crunchy, I reach for English cucumber slices. They've got only about 2 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams. You still get that crisp snap minus the sodium load. Or try raw zucchini sticks. They're clean, fresh, and great dipped in hummus. And let me tell you, jicama is a hidden gem. Sweet crunch, tons of fiber, and none of the sodium headaches. Now, if you're using celery in your cooking for that flavor boost, swap it for fresh fennel. It's got that similar savory note, but with way less sodium, and it adds a nice bright layer to soups or stir-fry. And just so you know the next veggie, it's practically a staple in every kitchen. Shows up in sauces, salads, stews, and it might be quietly triggering joint pain and gut inflammation you never connected back to your plate. All right, let me walk you through this next one straight up. No filter. I didn't believe it at first either, but when I started digging in and then tried the adjustment myself, everything changed. Third veggie on the watch list, raw tomatoes. Yeah, I know this one stirs things up. Tomatoes are everywhere, right? In breakfast, lunch, dinner, they're basically a universal ingredient. But once you hit 60 raw tomatoes, might be doing more harm than good, and here's why. A few months ago, I sat down with Esperanza, a 67-year-old woman from Puebla. She came in with swollen hands and joint pain so intense she couldn't even sleep. She'd already seen 3 different rheumatologists, and none of them found signs of rheumatoid arthritis. But the pain was real. It was interfering with her peace, her rest, her daily rhythm. When we talked, she told me something that really stuck. Since retiring, she'd made it her mission to eat clean. Breakfast was eggs with tomato, lunch was a salad with tomatoes, and dinner was veggie soup, with, you guessed it, more tomatoes. She was eating about 3 to 4 large tomatoes a day. Now, here's where the science kicked in. Tomatoes belong to the nightshade family, and they contain compounds called alkaloids, especially solanine and tomatine. For younger folks, these are usually no big deal. But as you age, your digestive system becomes more sensitive, and these alkaloids can start to trigger inflammation. In fact, they can build up in your joints, leading to swelling and pain that feels just like arthritis, even when it's not. I've read the studies up to 30% of older adults with unexplained joint pain see major relief once they cut nightshades from their diet. But there's more. Raw tomatoes are highly acidic with a pH between 4.3 and 4.9. And as we get older, our stomachs naturally produce less acid, so that extra acidity. It can mess with your digestion, cause acid reflux, heartburn, even ulcers in more severe cases. Esperanza made one simple change. She cut out raw tomatoes for just 1 month, and boom, the swelling in her hands almost completely vanished, and her joint pain dropped by about 80%. Now here's the good news. You don't have to give up tomatoes altogether. What I do, and what I told Esperanza to do, is cook them. Lightly simmer them down, and if you add just a little baking soda, it neutralizes the acidity and lowers those alkaloids. Cooked tomatoes or tomato sauce. Way easier on your system, and a whole lot less likely to cause inflammation. Looking for a crisp swap in your salads? Go with sweet red bell peppers. You still get that vibrant red pop without the alkaloids. Shredded raw carrots are great too. And if you're after that juicy bite that tomatoes give you, try cucumber chunks or even a bit of watermelon. They hit that sweet hydrating note without the acid load. And trust me, what comes next, it's going to throw you off even more. This next veggie is praised by nearly every health expert. It shows up in all the clean eating plans, but it might be the reason behind nasty bloating and thyroid problems you didn't even realize were connected. Fourth veggie to watch out for: raw broccoli. Now don't roll your eyes just yet. Yeah, I know broccoli gets labeled as a superfood, and it is, but only when you treat it right. I learned this the hard way through my man Fernando, a retired engineer 69 years old who had just been told he was pre-diabetic. Naturally, he flipped the switch on his diet: full-on greens, raw veggies, big salads loaded with broccoli every single day. 3 weeks in, he was dealing with constant bloating, intense gas, and a belly so swollen he couldn't button his pants. The guy was waking up at night with gut pain so sharp he thought something serious was going on. But all his medical tests came back normal. Here's what was really happening. Raw broccoli is tough, not just in texture, but in the way it challenges your system. It's packed with hard-to-break-down fibers like raffinose and cellulose, and while younger guts can usually handle that with the help of a healthy gut microbiome, things change after 60. Your gut bacteria shift, your digestion slows, and all those complex fibers. They end up fermenting inside you, producing gas pressure and, in some cases, even minor blockages. But that's just the first layer. Raw broccoli also contains compounds called goitrogens. These can interfere with thyroid function. And let's be real, after 60, thyroid activity naturally declines, so adding something that throws off your hormonal balance, that's a risk you don't need. What did Fernando do? He started steaming his broccoli for 5 to 7 minutes before tossing it into his meals. That one change flipped the script. Within a week, all the bloating and pain vanished, and more importantly, his nutrient absorption improved. That's something I applied to my own plate too. Steamed broccoli gives me the energy without the gut drama. There's another win here. Light steaming actually unlocks more antioxidants like sulforaphane, making cooked broccoli even more nutritious than its raw version. So it's not just about avoiding the discomfort, it's about amplifying the good stuff. Need that crunchy texture in your salad? Try raw cauliflower florets. They're gentler on your system. Or go for cooked Brussels sprouts, then chill them. They hold a bit of that firmness, but are way easier to digest. Want the same nutrient kick without the digestive punch? Add steamed asparagus in small servings, or go with broccoli sprouts. They're tender, easier on your stomach, and still loaded with all the good stuff. But listen, the next veggie. You'd never suspect it. It shows up in almost every green juice and detox smoothie. Looks innocent, but it might be draining your minerals and quietly wiping out your energy levels without you even noticing. Fifth veggie. You've got to be cautious with asparagus. Now, before you raise an eyebrow, hear me out. Asparagus seems harmless, even beneficial, especially if you've heard it's great for kidney detox. That's exactly what my friend Alberto, a 71-year-old retired accountant, thought. After reading about its cleansing powers, he started eating 6 to 8 large spears a day, cooked or blended into green juices, thinking he was doing himself a favor. Fast forward a few months, Alberto's big toe started flaring up with excruciating pain, especially at night. So intense he couldn't even let the bedsheet touch it. Eventually, the doctor diagnosed him with gout, which completely threw him off. I mean, this guy was eating clean, no junk, no booze. So, what happened? Here's the science behind it. Asparagus is loaded with purines, naturally occurring compounds that get converted into uric acid in your body. One 100-gram serving might only have about 23 milligrams of purines, but when you eat it daily, that buildup becomes real. And after 60, your kidneys start slowing down, meaning they're not clearing out that uric acid like they used to. The result, crystallized uric acid lodging in your joints, especially the feet, leading to those painful gout attacks. But that's not all. Asparagus also contains a decent dose of vitamin K, which is known to interfere with blood thinners like warfarin or rivaroxaban. That's what happened to Maria Elena, a 74-year-old who almost faced a serious cardiovascular scare. Her anticoagulant stopped working properly, and we eventually traced it back to her new detox diet, which, you guessed it, included asparagus every single day. There's more. Asparagus acts as a diuretic, and if your kidneys are already underperforming, it can lead to dehydration and mess up your electrolyte balance. That's a slippery slope, especially if you're already managing other health conditions. So, what did Alberto do? He cut asparagus completely from his meals. Within 3 weeks, his uric acid levels dropped back to normal, and he hasn't had a gout attack since. I took note of that and adjusted my own intake too. Need something with a similar texture or taste? Go for steamed green beans. They've got that same snap, but way lower in purines. Zucchini ribbons are another great choice. And if you're craving something close in flavor, steamed chayote hits that note without any of the complications. Now, if you're still craving asparagus once in a while, no problem. Just limit it to 2 or 3 spears once a week and always cooked, never raw and never juiced, especially if you're over 60. And look, the next 2 veggies. They're going to stir things up. One is on every clean eating menu in town, and the other's been hailed as the ultimate superfood. But truth is, both can be downright risky once you're past 60. Sixth veggie to be wary of radishes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Really, Lenny, radishes? Yep, and I didn't believe it either until I met Guadalupe, a retired teacher, 66 years old, who was trying to take better care of herself. Someone told her radishes were great for boosting metabolism and shedding a few pounds, so she went all in 5 to 6 big radishes a day, either in salads or just as a snack. 2 months later, she started dealing with constant stomach burning, sharp abdominal pain, and waves of nausea that didn't make sense. She went to a gastroenterologist, Chipa, and after an endoscopy, they found multiple small ulcers in her stomach lining. Here's what's going on. Radishes contain high concentrations of sulfur compounds known as glucosinolates. They're what give radishes that strong, peppery kick. But those same compounds can be harsh on your stomach lining, especially for older adults. See, after 60, your stomach produces less protective mucus, making you more sensitive to irritants like glucosinolates. Now stack that with common meds like ibuprofen or aspirin, which already irritate your gut, and you've got a recipe for trouble. That combo can lead to peptic ulcers in just a few weeks. But that's not the only concern. Radishes can also mess with thyroid medications. If you're taking something like levothyroxine, radishes can block absorption by up to 30%. I saw this firsthand with Jorge, 69 years old. He was faithfully taking his thyroid meds, but had started throwing radishes into his green juice every morning. His hormone levels began to spiral out of balance, and nobody could figure out why until we connected the dots. The radishes were disrupting his medication's effectiveness. So here's what we did. Guadalupe ditched the radishes completely, and within 6 weeks her ulcers were fully healed. Jorge cut the radish juice and his thyroid levels bounced back into a healthy range. I made the switch better safe than sidelined. Now, if you're chasing that crunchy, slightly spicy vibe, there are better options. Jicama delivers that crisp texture without wrecking your gut. It's super gentle on the stomach. Baby carrots also do the trick, and if you want a touch of spice, just add a tiny bit of fresh ginger, way less risky. As for green juice swaps, go for cucumber. It's cool, hydrating, and won't throw your body off. Or toss in just a pinch of something like celery, but only if your system can handle it. And now we're heading into the most controversial veggie of them all, the one that gets hyped as the ultimate superfood. You see it in every trendy juice bar and on every healthy menu. But once you cross the 60 line, this one can be straight up dangerous. 7th and riskiest veggie for older adults, raw kale. Yeah, I said it, kale. I know that's going to get some folks stirred up, but hang in there and let me explain. I met Raquel, who got heavy into healthy living after watching a documentary on clean eating. She went all in on 100 grams of raw kale daily for 8 straight months, tossed into green juices and salads like it was the secret to eternal youth. Then one day, Raquel had to be rushed to the hospital with internal bleeding. The doctors were baffled she wasn't on any blood thinners, yet her blood wouldn't clot properly. After running a bunch of tests, they found her blood had toxic levels of vitamin K. That's where the danger lies. Raw kale contains a massive amount of vitamin K. We're talking 704 micrograms per 100 grams. Now, to put that in perspective, adults only need about 90 to 120 micrograms per day. So, by loading up on kale every day, Raquel was consuming up to 6 times the safe limit. Too much vitamin K can actually overstimulate your blood's clotting mechanism, raising the risk of dangerous clot strokes and heart attacks. But if you're on blood thinners like warfarin, it's even worse. Vitamin K can completely cancel out your medication, putting your life on the line. And that's just the start. Kale also packs oxalates, the same compounds in spinach that can lead to kidney stones, but kale's levels are even higher. It's got goitrogens too, which can throw off your thyroid function. And the fiber in raw kale is so rough that it can cause intestinal blockages in folks with slower digestion. I remember Miguel, a 72-year-old who thought detox smoothies with kale were the move. After 6 months, he developed massive kidney stones so big they had to surgically remove them. And trust me, that pain is nothing to play with. So what do I do now? I still get my greens, but I never eat kale raw. I steam it for at least 10 minutes to cut down the vitamin K and oxalate load, and I keep my serving to about 30 grams once a week, max. Looking for better options? Butter lettuce or romaine gives you nutrients without the risks. If you want something with a bolder flavor, mustard greens or steamed Swiss chard are great picks. In green juices, I swap kale with cucumber-cooled cooked celery or a bit of steamed spinach. Raquel made the switch too. Now she sticks to tender lettuces in her salads and says she feels better than she has in years. Her vitamin K levels are back to normal and she hasn't had a single clotting issue since. Now, after walking you through all 7 of these vegetables, I want you to understand something deeper. It's not that these veggies are bad, they're not. The issue is, once you're over 60, your body starts to shift in ways most people don't realize. Your digestion slows, your kidneys don't filter as well, your liver breaks things down more slowly, and your gut microbiome evolves. Back when you were 30 or 40, your system could handle these veggies just fine. But now, they could be behind everything from bloating and gas to joint pain, fatigue, or unexplained high blood pressure. So, what's the move? Adapt. You don't have to cut these vegetables out completely, but you do need to change how you use them. Cook them when you can. Steaming softens fibers, lowers oxalate content, and makes nutrients more available. Cut back the portion sizes. What used to be a full serving might now only need to be a few bites. And most importantly, listen to your body. If something leaves you bloated, tired, achy, or keeps you up at night, it's sending a message. Watch out for gas, swelling after meals, sudden joint pain, pressure spikes, or weird digestive issues. If that sounds like you, try cutting out some of these veggies for 2 to 3 weeks. I've seen the transformation. I've lived it. And trust me, you might be surprised by how much better you'll feel. Getting older doesn't mean settling for feeling worse. It means adapting wisely so you can keep feeling great. That's the mindset I've carried with me, and now it's yours too. Like I promised, here's your go-to cheat sheet you can print out and stick right on your fridge. Swap raw spinach for romaine lettuce, steamed Swiss chard, or cooked spinach. Replace raw celery with cucumber, zucchini, or jicama. Trade raw tomatoes for red bell peppers, shredded carrots, or cooked tomatoes. Use small amounts of raw cauliflower or go with steamed broccoli instead of raw broccoli. Swap out asparagus for green beans, zucchini strips, or steamed chayote. Replace radishes with jicama baby carrots or cucumber. And forget raw kale, choose butter lettuce, steamed Swiss chard, or cooked spinach instead. Here's what to do for the next 30 days. Eliminate these 7 raw vegetables from your diet. Bring in the substitutes I just gave you, and pay attention to how your body responds. Notice any changes in digestion, energy, pain levels. If you're taking medication, talk to your doctor about these changes. They matter. If this helped you understand how your body is shifting and how to roll with those changes instead of fighting them, give this a like and share it with other folks over 60 you care about. This kind of insight can literally change lives. And if you're ready to go further, click the video on screen. I'm breaking down the 5 foods you should be eating every day to boost your energy, smooth out your digestion, and help you feel 10 years younger. Your health is in your hands. With the right knowledge, you can keep feeling incredible at any age. I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Me.